Man, I'm feeling tired.
Are you sleepy?
I'm sleepy.
Yeah, you wanna go to bed? You've had a pretty long day, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I have to.
You have to. You're legally forced into sleeping. So I think we talked about in our Persona 5 what we expected versus what we got. Is that Morgana is better than we were anticipating, but in some ways way more heinous.
Yeah. Morgana is a, like, less deliberately annoying, but
Mm-hmm.
somehow much more in your face mascot than Teddie, and I'd say Aegis is the mascot for Persona 3.
Yeah, because it's not quite Koromaru, because Koromaru is just like a dog. You've got to have this humanoid factor to you to count as a mascot, I think.
Yeah. But of the animal mascots, Koromaru wins hands down.
Yeah,
But of the talking animal mascots, Morgana is different
is
from Teddie.
it? Yeah, is better, I'd say. Like Morgana as a
Morgana,
character is more tolerable.
Morgana as a character is much better.
Yeah,
Morgana,
because Morgana is first of all, he's smarter. He's just a more intelligent being than Teddy,
mhm,
and he's way more useful just in general
mhm.
than Teddy ever was.
And he brings much more to the table in conversation and everything
Right.
than Teddy ever did.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two places where I'd say Morgana goes wrong.
Okay.
First of all, he lives with you.
Right.
And
That's a
living
big problem.
living with anything is a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that's the reason why we liked Ojima so much is he was never home.
Yeah. Yeah. In order for I think any relationship with both people and fictional characters, you need that away time.
Mhm.
Because if they're constantly with you, then there's no break
Yeah,
from them. No matter how much you enjoy the company of the person,
yeah.
it's the time that you don't spend with them that makes the time you do spend more valuable.
And like Morgana does more than just live with you. Like if he just lived at LeBlanc,
At Dojima's, at Sojiro's.
at LeBlanc,
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
that'd be perfectly fine.
Right.
But Morgana does more than that. Morgana is in your bag.
He's constantly with you.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Many things that in previous Persona games would be told to you by the little arrow that says what you are currently
Yeah.
thinking.
Just like your character's thoughts, yeah.
Yeah. What used to be your character's thoughts is now Morgana telling you what you are
Telling you
thinking.
what you think, yeah.
And that creates a much different dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
One that I can't particularly agree with.
I mean, I don't want to say in some ways it works, because most of the time it doesn't really. But, Morgana, I think, is more. I don't really know how to put this, but he's more a narrative device at times.
Yeah.
He's kind of the invisible hand that's teaching the player and instructing them on how to live their virtual life.
No one wants to be told what to do, though. Especially
Yeah,
by a fucking
exactly.
cat.
Right.
With a little mascot voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the Japanese version, he was Pikachu. And I love Pikachu. Who doesn't like Pikachu? I got
I like
Pokemon Yellow version.
I do as well.
But, if Pikachu told you how to live your life, you'd be fucking...
If Pikachu was telling you you need to go to the Pokemon Center, then it would be like, shut the fuck up, Pikachu.
Yeah, it's like a reverse of Hey You, Pikachu.
Yeah. Hey, you, protagonist.
Yeah. The fact that your protagonist has a lot less thoughts of his own now kind of hurts things, in my opinion.
Yeah, because in Persona 3, you absolutely had a sense of whatever the name you choose to call that guy, Makoto, whatever. You absolutely had a sense that he's a very sarcastic, slightly emo loner type guy who
He was
you know
Squall.
he was basically Squall from Final Fantasy VIII.
And, you was a lot more ordinary, but you could still get a better sense of what the mood was.
Yeah,
Because,
there's
like,
kind of like a slight goofiness, like, it doesn't quite 100% get what's going on type vibe from him, you know?
Yeah. But with Persona 5 protagonist, I'm seeing the name Akira thrown around a lot.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from, the manga, I think.
You get his dialogue options, and there are brief moments where Morgana doesn't tell you what to think. But Morgana telling you what to think it makes me, as a player, want to disagree with him. And
Right. I think I mentioned this. I'm not sure which video it was. It might have been the video I did with Ed, Robotic Bomber, but I think part of why we, like, Morgana just annoys us is because humans are very, like, this fits in perfectly with the themes of the game, are very, like, rebellious, and we really are not ever happy with the idea of being told what to do, no matter what.
yeah.
So to have something that is not, like, our character telling us, you are tired, you want to do this thing, like, this, that, whatever, it drives us crazy. We hate it.
And when he tries to pretend that we have a choice and say, you should, and then railroad you into doing exactly that.
Yeah, it would have been better if Akira, or whatever you may be, just said, I'm tired. Instead of Morgana saying, you are tired.
That's where a lot of the hatred for Morgana comes from, and it is 100% justified.
Yeah, I get it. It's not like one of those things where it's like some meme hatred. There's a genuine, like, mechanical and story reason to dislike this approach.
And getting into a story reason to dislike Morgana, there's his arc, which is part of his Confidant. Morgana's arc comes from a sense of wanting to be appreciated. I feel he wants to be a human, or thinks he's a human, or whatever the fuck, because he feels like that's what will make him most liked. Similar to what we got with Teddie.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between him and Teddie, both involving, like, the what am I mystery and just wanting to be appreciated. Although with Teddie, that wasn't really brought up as much.
Yeah, like, Teddie's I wanted to be appreciated or helpful came when he just joined the party. Morgana's want to be appreciated, fitting with the game's theme, is a lot more rebellious. You are given a period of time in the game in which Morgana will get mad at you for things you had very little control of, and things that Morgana honestly should have grown to expect.
Yeah, like, I hate to use this word, I don't like this word, but forced is like, the whole thing about, like, he has that breakdown over, they were fighting about some shit, I don't quite remember. Ryuji made him mad. And he was like, fuck this, and that's around when he met Haru. And that, to me, came off as a very, fiction type of, conflict, let's have a conflict type of thing.
Like,
you know?
Morgana knows Ryuji. We've gone through palaces together, and they baton pass. For Morgana to suddenly be all like, Skull's an asshole.
Like, duh, didn't you figure this out, like, when you first met him?
And Morgana kind of, like, threw the first stones there. And for that to be, like, the source of a conflict, when, like, everyone else in the group kind of appreciating the guy, and the protagonist, if we are led to believe things based on gameplay, obeys this cat, takes his advice to heart constantly. Like, the only people that Morgana has any respect for are the protagonist and Lady An.
And Haru. To an extent.
He sees Haru as, like,
a means to an end.
Yeah. maybe at best, like, a pet.
See, I think we've talked a lot of shit about Morgana. What are some things about Morgana that you like? What the hell are you eating?
What about you?
What about me?
You start.
Alright, cool. I like how Morgana is smart. Or I guess he's more knowledgeable than he is smart. So that, like, gives a lot of levity from how just fucking retarded Teddie was.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Teddie ever did an intelligent thing.
Morgana had a good dance costume in that DLC.
Yeah?
The afro was nice.
Yeah, it was cute.
Is Morgana the dedicated, like, bad confidant, bad character of Persona 5?
I think we gotta give that to Oya. Oya's pretty not fantastic.
Is this the race to the bottom in which two not great characters try to see who can be less helpful?
I kind of like Morgana. I don't dislike him. I have a bigger problem. It's just like the way he's implemented than him as a character.
Yeah, but he's implemented so bad.
Yeah.
Like all those meme complaints about Navi, like it's like those memes became a character.
Morgana's pretty at his best, Morgana is a very helpful character, but at worst he's like, I want to take you to a shelter or something.
Why does he need to say everything? Why does he need to say something about everything I learned in class? Normally that's the part for like the teachers to have a bit of personality.
Yeah.
Kind of liked about Persona 3 and 4, how all the teachers are kind of nut jobs, but they're a lot more plain in Persona 5, and I kind of blame it on Morgana.
Yeah, Morgana talks too much. I think that's just the biggest problem. Is the motherfucker doesn't shut up.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, you don't get a break from him.
You can't throw away the bag. Like if he lived at home, I'd be all like, "Oh, Morgana is such a great character," but he lives in your bag. He shits in your bag.
Yeah, you don't get a moment's rest from him.
The Lady On shit. Like why does what was that building up to?
Dude, that was love at first sight. I don't know, shit.
What, like, was it building up to something? Was there, like, a connection between them? Did On ever, like, interact with Morgana in any major way?
Yeah, one of my more major complaints about Persona 5 is that there's hardly any of that character-to-character interaction that was so common in Persona 3. Like, everybody in Persona 3 pretty much has, like, a one-on-one talk at least once with every other character. And then that's less frequent in Persona 4 and basically non-existent in 5. There's, like, that one scene with Makoto and An. So, what happens in his wonderful Confidant that just happens on its own?
Here's the thing. I can't remember because it's all just this continuous stream of Morgana scenes that don't have a beginning or an end.
Yeah. And it's very arbitrary when it decides that you've learned more about Morgana or formed a deeper connection. Like, it's just like nothing, like no particular reason.
Yeah. Like at the end, like, oh, I was Mementos or some shit.
Yeah, like I was expecting the Confidant to finish at like near the end of Mementos or something. But it's like, I don't know, it's just, it's all placed fucking weird.
Yeah, doesn't it? I can't remember if it happens before or after Shido.
I feel like, was it before? I don't remember.
I didn't use Morgana when I didn't have to. I can tell you what it was about. It was about him, like, wondering who he was and feeling unappreciated and then feeling, my home is with you, and I'm like,
his relationship with the Phantom Thieves at large,
Yeah. There are things in his Confidant that don't make sense with the gameplay.
Okay.
Like, the Baton Pass in itself, I see is like, the Phantom Thieves are a unit. They are operating really well with each other.
Yeah.
And Morgana can take part in this. But Morgana seems to hate everyone, except for you and Lady. Remember when he just told Haru to tell off everyone? Like, Haru was clearly uncomfortable there.
Yeah. So, something about his Confidant, I don't know. Like, what else happens? Does anything happen? I don't remember. Like, Morgana has made me realize that, confidants and social links that progress as the story goes on are objectively a bad idea. Like, just in general. Unless they're, like, the group, link. which in itself is like a weird concept. But
Like, they're the least memorable thing.
yeah,
But that's wrong, because we remember Goro.
yeah. I mean, we remember Goro, but not like what necessary. Except for the last couple, we don't really remember what happens in the first few. Or at least I don't.
I remember a few of them.
Yeah, I don't like. The problem is that Morgana's all take place in the same fucking place. That's like pretty much.
Yeah,
in
there's
your
no,
room.
like, there's very little location differences.
Yeah, so it's just like Morgana had a revelation about its own existence on your bed. That's like 7 of them, at least. But like, the confidant social links that automatically progress, part of the problem is that you're not making an intentional decision to form a bond with this character, right? It's being forced upon you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have the same meaning as when you've got like, okay, I can hang out with Takemi or Yusuke or Ryuji or Mishima or da-da-da-da-da.
Like, that
And
was
you have
a
to
choice,
manage-
and you,
Yeah.
like, you remember it more, because it was
Right.
a choice you had.
Mm-hmm. And then you're managing your time, and that's a whole big part of Persona. But then when it's forced upon you, and you're not making an intentional decision to be this character's friend, it comes off as like forced to an extent, and then you don't remember it as much.
Yeah.
I think Morgana has probably, I don't want to say it's the worst confidant, but it's one of the most boring.
It's because, like, not only are you not making a conscious decision to hang out with Morgana, you're also always hanging out with Morgana. So when it goes up,
no matter what.
it's all like, okay, why didn't you go up earlier when you when you were taking a shit in my bag?
This is slightly, well, I guess it's not off topic, but were you like, I don't know if satisfied is the right word, but were you expecting Morgana's like character to end up actually just, he's a cat, he's like a weird cat thing?
But
We should explain what Morgana actually is.
all right, so the Velvet Room made a cat, I guess.
Yes, because the Velvet Room got invaded by Yaldabaoth, which on its own is very terrifying and very interesting in terms of like how powerful these characters are. And so
The only other person who invaded the Velvet Room was Teddie.
right, Lucifer. Yeah, so Yaldabaoth comes in, most likely has to get through Lavenza, who we can assume is around Elizabeth Margaret level.
Power level.
Yeah, her power. Their power. At least Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks tier. And beats her, right, and splits her in half, or whatever, I don't know. And then, like, seals away Igor. But before he manages to do that, Igor, like, creates another servant in the form of Morgana.
Why in the form of Morgana?
I don't know. Like, I don't know, why isn't it an elephant? It's just...
Why? All right. Like, was it just like a collective consciousness thing? Was all of humanity thinking of a cat at that moment?
I have a theory that Morgana is very specifically and intentionally designed to aid the spirit of the prankster, the trickster, or whatever, who is not scumfuck Goro, whoever that may have been, because why can Morgana turn into a bus, right? Like, Morgana speculates it's just because people think about cat buses. But there's not enough people thinking about cat buses in the world to justify that. I think the reason why Morgana can turn into a bus is because Igor designed him that way because he knew that they would have to go down mementos. And walking down mementos would have been a pain in the ass, so he made Morgana able to turn into a bus.
Is that why? That's why Morgana has healing spell.
Yes.
Has wins.
Look, that's why Morgana just has knowledge about things that he has no business understanding. Why do you think Morgana was so caught up on the idea of him being human? Like, he had the mementos thing nailed. He knew he was from mementos, or had some relationship to it.
I think he was bent on being human because, like, he's made of collective consciousness, which is human.
Yeah.
Oh god, did Igor design Morgana to be in a bag? Is he going to design more bag things?
little bag velvet room attendant.
Like, imagine a Lavenza, but you can fit it in your bag.
I like the idea of Igor speaking in like the Rick voice from Rick and Morty.
It's genius.
Lavenza, we gotta
Put
fuse
them-
these personas.
They need to fit in the bag, Lavenza.
Quick, before yelled about gets here.
We're not making things for purses, Lavenza.
We're not making purses, Lavenza. Oh jeez, Igor, sorry.
Fucking F for forgettable.
I hate to give Morgana the first, like, bad. I feel like Morgana's is a failure. Because it's so forgettable and doesn't, like, it serves a function, but it's like, who fucking cares? This could have been accomplished, like, just in the story, not having to tell me what your bond is
Imagine if
deeper.
instead of having, like, a Morgana confidant, we just had, like, that be the Phantom Thieves confidant.
Yeah.
Like, I'd make that trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, they should have had just, like, the group be the fool, instead of making, Igor the fool.
No, Igor can
I
be
mean,
the fool all he wants.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
We'll talk about that Confidant when we get to it. I think there's good stuff to say about Morgana, but he's so wrapped up in a Confidant which is objectively pretty not good, and, like, the way he's implemented into the game that makes him, like, antagonistic to an extent. Like, I like the fact that he's a mascot, but he's basically the leader of the Phantom Thieves. Like, he's the one that knows all the shit about the palaces. So, I don't know. I don't dislike him. He's not intentionally annoying like Teddie, but maybe in a way being annoying by accident is worse.